didn't have my
worried about the chat
VPN
anymore.
on
They
either.
put that into your feed.
Who did they say they were?
Oh, we know who it is.
Chat anymore. They put that into your. Something about 1337.
Yeah.
No, 1337 is just one lead.
Damn, that was a good hack. That was a really good hack.
That was pretty fucking outstanding.
That was a
I do
good
give him
hack.
props.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
No, you're definitely.
That was a
Good
great
job.
hack. Oh my god.
Well, I've got somebody trying to DDoS the Devon profile, so we'll see if it's a sock or not.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was crazy as fuck. Oh, that was a good hack, man.
Well, I've got.
You guys there?
Yeah.
Alright. So, what were you guys talking about? We're back live.
They did it for the lulz. Congratulations.
I don't know why else you would do it.
Because they love us, because they ain't us.
Yeah, and it spelled whatever. It just says anonymous back episode 28, whatever.
Take 3.
Take 3, whatever. But anyway, go ahead, Terrence.
All right, so I don't know. We were talking about Red Fawn and kind of what's been going on with her. She was released earlier this morning. Went to go and pick up her stuff. A judge in I think Bismarck released her to a halfway house. She went to go pick up her stuff, and they put through like an emergency appeal and rearrested her when she went to go and pick up her stuff. And this woman's been locked up for 6 months now on trumped up charges, crimes that she did not commit. I mean, honestly, she didn't commit any crimes. I don't know if you guys know the Red Fawn story or any of that. No.
I don't.
So,
I'm pretty ignorant.
Yeah, so basically, one of the cops that was there tried to execute her, and there's been pretty much a cover-up from that. First they arrested her on all of these assault and attacking an officer, this and that and the other. If you watch, we happen to have a video. They confiscated everybody's phones when they arrested them, and a lot of those phones we never got back. So a lot of the video of the confrontation wasn't recorded, but we did end up getting some of the video, and some of the people that were there ended up getting video. And you could clearly see they're dogpiling her. They're beating the crap out of her at this. When they've already got her on the ground, and then this guy fires off his weapon. First they said that she grabbed his weapon, and then they did a forensic test of the gun. There was none of her fingerprints on it, only his fingerprints. Then they said she had a gun. That's backwards. First they said she had a gun, but then they couldn't produce said gun. And then they said, well, she grabbed his gun. But then when they did the forensics on the gun, there was no fingerprints. She never touched that gun. He was the only one that touched it, only one that pulled it, only one that fired it while she was on the ground. And it's just been a nightmare. But either way, keep her in the news. They like to bury these stories with other like mindless BS on the corporate news. So, we have to put a concerted effort to keep the media eye on, not just Red Fawn, but all the cases that are like that, where they're trying to make some sort of example out of you. And it's not an example on, not to be violent. It's not an example on not to protest. And it's an example on to never, ever, ever stand up to their authority, that they're in absolute power. And if any time you say, no, this is my land, this is my property, this is my body, right, this is my country, they will stick you in a hole and try to keep you there for as long as possible. At the end of the day, they're doing this for an oil company. They're locking up a woman for 6 months at a time, keeping her away from her family for an oil corporation, right? That's the bottom line. That's why they're doing all of this. And the example that they think that they're going to make of her will end up just making an example of themselves. When we do start charging these people with, civil rights violations, I want these people put in prison, right? If you took 6 months of her life, you owe me 6 months, at minimum. You know what I mean? You're doing that, you did that intentionally. Like we have to make an example of what happens when corporations and corrupt governments try to impose their will on the people. And that's really what's going to happen out of this. But we have to make a concerted effort to keep it in the news.
Hey, do you know what happened to the guys? There was that DAPL employee that had the rifle on the wrong side of the river, but they ended up charging like the 4 or 5 people that were at the camp, for charges rather than that guy. Do you know what happened to them?
I think you're talking about what happened with Rattler and
Nacho or
Bravo.
No, Bravo 1.
Yeah, and okay, what had happened? This guy, I personally wasn't there, but there was an altercation with the DAPL employee. The DAPL employee had a gun and attacked some of the water protectors. One of them, I think, had grabbed a knife and had disarmed this guy with the knife. So, I mean, if that says anything, number one, like normally it's like never bring a gun to a knife fight, but in this case, like he took it from you. So like that was the entire altercation. When the police got there, they charged these guys with firearms charges and assault and all of this, and all of this stuff where this guy was drunk, belligerent, you know what I mean? Like you should be in jail for quite a while for what this guy was doing. You know what I mean? Threatening people with a gun, like it was, the absolute worst. These guys were defending themselves and defending the other people that were there. This guy wasn't playing around. Like I kind of joke about it that, he got, that he defended the people there, but this guy was going to put a hole through somebody. You know what I mean? In cold blood. And if you knew the two men, the two Akichita that are in this, that are involved in this, they are the real deal. When they say that they would put themselves in between the people and danger, they are not fucking around, right? Like when like as a character reference, if you knew the kind of people that they were, that story is 100% true. And that is the kind of, you know what I mean? That is the guys, and that's what they had showed themselves to be over and over and over again. When, things were really going crazy and people needed to keep their heads and all of that, they weren't, I'm not putting it as, as that they were in charge or leadership or any of that. But what I am saying is like they would do anything to keep the people that they were there, the people that they were protesting was safe. I think they both win at this point. Like everybody's got these weird like pending charges. Fuck, no, don't go to South Dakota or North Dakota, guys. Like maybe when I'm an old man, I can go back and visit North Dakota. But no, I'm just gonna stay the fuck out of that state for a little bit. I would advise everybody else to do the to do the same. There's nothing good there, for the people that were water protectors. We have a lot more support outside of that little area in North Dakota. They're charging these people in such like kangaroo courts, where it's like, not only are these guys like blatantly on the payrolls of the oil companies. I mean, that's obvious when you look at like the government involvement in this, right? But they also, there's like on top of that, there's the added racism and all of that. They really do not mind locking up natives. Like they get off on it. That's part of their game. That's like, when you kind of envision you're like, and I mean, it still exists, but not quite as openly against the African American community. They're still sending you to prison for years for absolutely nothing, but they're not calling you the N-bomb in the middle of the court. I mean, it's not the case when it comes to indigenous and natives in the courtroom, right? Like they're openly racist against them. Walking down the street, open racism, insanity. But you're such a minority of a minority of a minority. It's almost completely ignored.
Oh, what was that?
Oh,
I think you're getting interference from Steven giving you the charger.
Steven, yeah, you're near a charger. Steven?
dude, I think they got my shit because I didn't have my VPN on.
No, that sounded like a cop. Are you? You driving?
No, dude, the goddamn Bluetooth speaker's going the fuck off next to me, and I have no idea why.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say, man, what's going? What the fuck?
All right, I think we're good.
Okay.
You're having one of those. Are we?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
All right, well, I'm turning my shit on now. Fuck all that.
Oh, you're gonna have to disconnect to switch over. I think.
Terrence, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, keep on talking.
What, hey, Terrence, do you know anything about I mean, I've seen some posts about, like, it looks like a lot of stuff got diverted over to the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe buildings that was really supplies for the camp. I mean, I would say there's been a lot of thieving going on, but there's something going on. There's just a lot of stuff piled, in little cubby holes and.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff that was donated. I mean, tons and tons and tons of equipment and supplies and all of that. A lot of it. I don't know if you guys know, if you guys have seen any other posts. For like the last 2 months of the cleanup. A lot of the supplies they went through, and I mean state to state, they drove all the way to Oregon, down to Washington, North Dakota, South Dakota, all the way out to Missouri, and they donated to different tribes. There was heaps of stuff that went out in donations. There was stuff that walked away. I mean, that there was, by the time the camp was kind of just being cleaned up, so many people had left. I will say there was stuff that just walked away. You know what I mean? We had 20,000 people there at one time and, 200 people there to clean it up. Right? So, I mean, some of that stuff just, when those 20,000 people left, they took stuff with them, generators, all sorts of crap disappeared when that huge number and group of people, came in.
Yeah.
With the different evacuations and things like that, a lot of the money went to that, and a lot of people don't realize the amount of money that went to people's medical bills. When you got hit with with rubber bullets, when you got hit with, when you got, an infection from the, from being roughed up, or, from the stuff being in your eyes, from, injuries and all of that stuff from being at the front lines and literally not fighting back, right? Those medical, the heating was like a huge, over the winter, that was like a huge, like place where the money had went to, an expenditure that was kind of like nonstop through the entire winter for the people that stayed there. There always had to be like propane and wood and all of that donated. And then, a lot of it got, taken when the military came in and forcibly removed it. I know there was a couple of weeks ago, there was a video that LaDonna had posted, because they're still doing the cleanup on her side, on her property. And, just the amount of stuff still in the bags and still in the packages that people just left rather than pick up and clean, which is kind of, which is disheartening. I really wish people would have picked up a lot more when they left. But on the same note, right, the like narrative that the corporate media and the fossil fuels would like to spin is that, oh, these guys left a mess, so somehow it's okay for us to run the oil pipeline down. 150 miles north, right, 3-4 months ago that oil pipe started leaking, just 150 miles north of Standing Rock. That fucker is still leaking. The amount of damage that's going to do is thousands of years long. It's not the same. Like, yeah, somebody left a tent, right? You want to leak crude oil into our water supply for millions of people for thousands of years. That's not fucking equal. So, what takes like a month to clean up compared to what may never be a drinkable area after your pipeline goes through is not the same. That's like saying, look, man, there was a stain on your carpet, so I burnt your house down, right? It's just, the damage is not equal. Yeah, there was a little bit of cleanup that needed to be done. We could have used a lot of people that, did come there and, gave their part to it and protested and, took part in the spiritual movement that was going on there. But when you left, you're taking a lot more of your shit with you, right? You made that job a lot harder.
Yeah, leave it the same way you found it, kind of thinking.
Yeah, that's just me. But, a lot of it, I'm not making excuses for people that came up there like, why didn't you pick up your stuff when you left? That was just a bogus thing to do. But a lot of it was like, college, and they kind of, there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
this
charging.
like
charging or something.
This like
it's really bad.
Crowd popped up, and they were there. You'd hear people talk in like the in the lines, and and when you were, and they'd say it like they were going to like the latest concert. So they'd be like, oh, I went to Burning Man last year, and now we're here at Standing Rock, and you'd be like, you realize this isn't a concert, right? This isn't like a festival. You know what I mean? And that was definitely a problem. And they treated it like it was some sort of festival.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it did kind of change the crowd. The core people that were there, that didn't change. But for that little bit of time, it did. We needed everybody. That was the call. But, the people that came, they were, they are, for a lot of the things that we stood for there, but they were a completely different crowd and a completely different mindset. And it took a long time to dig back out from that. When you scrape off all of the bullshit, right? At the end of the day, the 200-300 people that were there at the end, right? That was like the core of Standing Rock. You know what I mean? Those are the people that really did give a fuck. Now, people had to go back for, work and for all that. I'm not saying that you didn't give, 110% while you were there or anything like that, right? But everybody sacrificed to come there. And, I stayed until, the very last raid. There were people that were even more hardcore than that and stayed afterward. You know what I mean? That like at the end of the day, it stripped it down to the core of what people were fighting for at Standing Rock. And everybody, the huge numbers that were there, they were there for all sorts of different reasons.
yeah, you had the different factor. I guess, the environmentalists, the natives. I mean, there's people that were coming at the angle from the treaties. There was, it's not like everybody was on the same page. Of course, you had the same anger against the government, but,
Well, it kind of had the same, the same. We had a combined goal. All of us. There was a solidarity in what was going on that I've never seen anywhere else. Everybody was there to stop, this pipeline. But the reasons and the things that were around it were really very. We had guys that
And
were
we just got hacked again. We just got hacked again.
wow.
Yep.
Oh no.
Damn.
We're still live.
Yeah, mine still shows us being live.
Nope.
Yeah, we're gone. Comment soon, we're gone.